Hi, Jacob. I wanted to thank you for your post this week. And I thought you had a lot of good points there. I really liked how you shared some personal examples of how things, you know, how working with vulnerable adults has been in your life. I did really like when you talked about school counselors and how, they have the rights to talk with students in that uh, they don't really need a lot of informed consent as long as the child is okay with speaking with them. But there's this understanding then that if a parent would ask the child to stop seeing the counselor or the counselor to stop seeing the child, that would need to occur because they are under the age of 18. And so I think that's that extra layer in school counseling that we don't always think about. Like if you're doing clinical counseling, if they're under the age of 18, you have parental consent and informed consent, but when you're in the school setting, it's a little bit different. So I appreciate you pointing that out. In an article I read by Lur et al. On ethics in school counseling, it discusses more layers of this whole school counseling idea. And one of the things that it said was that one of the issues is the counselors face is the importance of informed consent, and that counselors were often influenced by the rights of the parents, the rights of the child to receive the service that could be helpful to them, the rules of the institution in which they worked, and then the legal implications of informed consent. So basically, it wasn't just treating the child. I mean, there were so many layers to what the school counselor was doing. So I think that's important to consider as well. And I also feel like there's this obligation sometimes to other people in the building to, answer questions about the child. As a counselor, many teachers, principal, administration, they want to know what's going on with that child too. And so unless the child's given the okay for the counselor to share information with their teachers and stuff, that's a line you have to be careful with in terms of confidentiality. So I think that's kind of important to consider as well, is where do you draw that line? How much do you share with others? And then I also liked the one other point that you talked about where you talked about how the caregivers, some of the caregivers of vulnerable adults or of children are not really informed when they consent to treatment as well. They may not read the document. They may not have the academic level to read the document. And I think that's important to consider because as a teacher, I have witnessed several parents of children that I'm just like, they don't really understand what's going on. And that's concerning when they're the ones giving the consent for treatment or not for treatment. So I think that was a good point to be made as well. So anyways, have a great week and thanks for your post.